Hello, wonderful ladies and wonderful gentlemen. One of the biggest mistakes that I see guys making when they're trying to take things to the bedroom is assuming that a woman's slower warm up is a sign of rejection. You know, if she's not quite ready to go to the bedroom or she's not quite ready to have sex yet, a lot of guys will take it personally. They will feel rejected. They will feel like they did something wrong. They will spiral into self doubt. But here's the truth for most women, their desire switches on after they feel safe, after they feel even just a little bit comfortable with you. This isn't a judgment on you if she's not ready to have sex just quite yet. It isn't disinterest and it isn't rejection. Well, I guess sometimes it might be, but a lot of the time it is not. It is literally how women are built. They require some safety, some comfort, knowing that they are okay before they are able to strip off, get naked, have kinky, fun, amazing, beautiful sex with you. I guess let's start with what men are like. And you guys kind of already know this, but men are sort of like a gas stove. You click and then the flame comes on. A lot of guys, a lot of us can go from absolutely zero interest to immediately, holy shit, I'm ready to have sex, or at least I feel a strong desire. We literally see a cute girl walk past us on the beach or outside, and we immediately are like, holy crap, I want to date her. Holy crap, I want to make out with her. Holy crap, there's chemistry. Literally, if she's just cute to us, we immediately feel that spark and that chemistry. We're ready to go. It's like we don't even necessarily need a big warm up. It's like we don't necessarily need to build that safety. Or you could almost say a lot of us, not all of us, but most of us men feel safety already. We already feel relatively safe. The desire itself is pretty safe for us. But women are a little bit more like an oven. You turn it on, but it takes a little while to heat up. And then the flames come on. Women often need some trust, maybe some consistency from you. You know, they need you to be congruent and not be a chameleon, you know, like a pickup artist who's always trying to say the right thing and he's changing himself constantly. A lot of women want some emotional safety or even just physical safety. They want a guy who isn't just vibrating with like neediness energy. You know, he's not desperate to try and get something from her. Molly, one of the women that I'm dating right now, said that when I first hit on her, it felt like I wasn't trying to get anything from her. And she said, I felt very safe in your presence. I felt like you weren't trying to use me for something. And then once those conditions are met, you know, once she feels safe, once she feels like you're not going to judge her, or even that her friends won't judge her for being a quote unquote slut, once she feels a little bit safer, then the turn on happens. And so you guys will hear me say this sometimes in content where I'll say women just often have a different timeline in order to get to sex. And I think timeline is the perfect word for it, you know? A lot of us guys are ready to go basically as soon as we see a woman. You know, if she's cute enough and she's attractive enough, as long as we know she's not a complete psycho or something, we would be happy to grab a quick drink, talk for 10 minutes, and then go back to our apartment and do the tomfoolery together. Sound like such a boomer, the tomfoolery. You know, maybe even a lot of us would literally be willing to just go back to the apartment immediately, like skip the drink, skip the date, take your panties off, woman, and I'll take you right here. And so we have, a lot of us, not all of us, but most of us have a pretty short timeline for sex. Our dick gets hard and we're pretty ready to go. Whereas for a lot of women, that timeline is a little bit slower. Some women are happy to have sex on the first date, of course, but lots more women want to wait till the second or the third or maybe even longer date before they take their panties off and get into the shenanigans. I'm trying to come up with a bunch of old people words. They get into the tomfoolery and the shenanigans. And so they usually have a slightly slower timeline for sex. But a lot of guys interpret that as like, oh, she's not that into me. I bet if I was a big, strong, sexy alpha male, she would fuck me on the first date. You know, I bet if I had better game, she would fuck me immediately. And it's like, some women, yes, will be willing to have sex with you pretty quickly. Like they have a short timeline. But I'm just going to go out there and say the majority of women have a slower timeline. And it's not that they don't like you. It's not that your game wasn't good enough. It's not that she wasn't attracted to you. It's not that you weren't tall enough or enough of an alpha male or whatever it might be, or that you didn't flirt enough, that you did anything wrong. No, she just had a slower timeline. And instead of freaking like getting stuck on you and taking it personally, which is what we often do, don't we? We go, I didn't do a good job. I'm not attractive enough. I'm not cool enough. We focus on ourselves, focus more on her. And this is kind of going to be the answer, guys. This is what I say in all the content. Just use your words. You know, if you invite a woman back to your apartment, you say, hey, do you want to come back to mine? You know, we can make out, we can fool around, whatever. If she goes, like, and she's hesitating, or she just goes, maybe not tonight, rather than taking that personally, talk to her and say, fair enough, you know, you don't want to come back tonight. That's fair enough. Like, do you usually like to wait a little bit longer? Are you feeling chemistry with me and you just want us to slow down a little bit? Are you just a little nervous? Like, how are you feeling? We can talk about it. And she'll open up and she'll tell you. And most of the time, what they say is, I just feel like we're moving too fast. Or I just, you know, don't want to go too quickly. Or I don't really feel like I know you well enough. Or sometimes they'll even be honest and say, I'm just worried that like people will think I'm a slut. I've even had some women say, I want to come back to your apartment, but is it okay? Am I allowed to? Can I trust you? Will people think I'm slutty? Like, should I wait till next time? And then we just talk about it. And a lot of the time, we talk it through and she feels a little better. And then we go back to my place and we fool around and have some fun. Maybe we even have sex. A lot of the time, we decide, hey, we'll just do this next time. And that's kind of going to be the answer here as well, guys. Like a lot of the time, we think, oh shit, she said no to going back to my place, or we're at my place, we're making out, and she doesn't want to go to the bedroom, or she doesn't want to take her clothes off. Like, fuck, I've been rejected. No, you can just ask again next time. You haven't been rejected. It's not a complete no. It's just a not now. Not right now is not the same as no, never, get away from me, you gross, disgusting boy, I hate you. No, I'm just not ready now. And that's all there is to it. We don't have to then tell an extra story on top of that and be like, fuck, I'm not attractive enough. It's personal. It's because I'm biologically a loser. No, stop saying that extra stuff and just tell the truth of all that happened in that moment is she's just not ready right now. Maybe she will be in future. Maybe she won't be. Who freaking knows? You can talk about it. You can try again next time. But it doesn't mean it's a complete failure and that you're a failure and that you didn't do anything correctly. As for the caution itself or the hesitation, like why do women take a little bit longer, generally speaking, than most men in order to get to the sex? Well, there's like a million different reasons, and I've done so many different videos on this, but women often grow up with so much shame around their sexuality. Men do too. A lot of men are called perverts, or we get the word creep, or people will say like, you know, you shouldn't push too hard because you'll make women uncomfortable. So a lot of men have discomfort and shame around sex as well. But a lot of women have shame around their desire to have sex. They'll get slut shamed for literally even just reading romance novels or thinking about sex. They have a fear of judgment, a fear of being called a slut, like I said, a fear that they're going to get used, a fear that they've lost something if they give their sexuality over, whereas most men feel like they have gained something if they have sex. Like that's such an obvious statement that most of us already know. Women have a fear of, like I said, the labels, not just like a slut, like being called a slut, but being called dumb, being called irrational, being called like someone who just thinks with their emotions. Like guys have fears of that as well. Guys have fears of being too emotional, but women especially have lots of fears of like, you made an irrational, silly decision. You shouldn't dress like that. You shouldn't lead boys on. You shouldn't have sex too quickly. You shouldn't give up too much too soon. You've lost something if you give your sexuality. Whereas, you know, on this channel, obviously, we like to talk about how we gain things when we share with someone. Women gain if they want to have sex with a man. That can be a beautiful sharing experience. She hasn't lost something and he's taken something. We don't have to see it quite like that. We can see it as two people coming together, I guess pun intended, coming together and sharing something beautiful if they both want to and they both consent and all of that. And so if a woman doesn't dive in instantly and have sex with you, it doesn't mean like that you're ugly. It doesn't mean you did something wrong. It means that she has a million, trillion, billion different things in her head. You know, I like this guy. I want to go back to his place, or I want to have sex, but like, would that be moving too quickly? And I don't know if I can trust him, and I don't know if I feel safe enough. And how will I know that he'll actually slow down and stop if I ask him to? Will he be able to sense that I'm uncomfortable, or is he just trying to get something from me? Does he not even care about me? He just wants to fuck me. If I have sex with him tonight, is he not going to see me as a long-term prospect? Should I slow down and wait? Because if I have sex too quickly, he'll just think I'm casual. Like he won't think I'm a long-term prospect. And a lot of you guys do literally think like that. A lot of you guys literally do think if a woman has sex really quickly, then great, she's fun for a quick fuck, or maybe I'll be friends with benefits with her, but I'd never let her be the wife or the mother of my children. I'd never let her be my wife. And so some of you guys literally even do think like that. And then her biggest fear literally does come true. if she puts out and has sex on the first date. A lot of women have done that. You know, they have sex really quickly on the first date, and then the guy just kind of sees them as a quick fuck, and maybe he loses interest. And so she literally learns, oh, I guess I have to like literally make him wait. I'd love to just have sex on the first date. I like sex. I'm into this guy. I'd love it if there wasn't the judgmentalism coming from lots of men, but there is. So I am intentionally going to wait until date 2 or date 3, or maybe I'll wait even longer. And then a lot of guys get very frustrated with that and go like, why is she making me wait? She didn't make the other guys wait. Yeah, and the other guys judged her for that. So she's being pretty rational by learning, hey, maybe I'll slow it down. And then on top of that, like I've said, a lot of women are just nervous around sex. They have like safety concerns. Maybe they had some bad experiences in the past that didn't go quite so well, or they didn't feel safe, or maybe they were even sexually abused. You know, I have met lots of women. One of the women I'm dating right now, Molly, hadn't dated anyone for a year when I first met her because she'd been through some maybe not so great experiences and, you know, bits and pieces in her history. And when she met me, she was like, I've been taking a break for a year. I would have happily been single for the next 5 years, maybe. And she wanted to go really slow with me, like really slow. We didn't even have sex till like the 4th or the 5th date. We did some other stuff. We made out, we kissed, we touched over clothes and all of that. But she had a lot of safety fears. She was even honest enough to tell me before we went on our first date. And she was like, I just don't know when I'll be ready to have sex. And I'm really scared that I might never be ready to have sex. Like, I'm really afraid. I don't know if we would need to go on 10 dates before I'm ready to have sex. And I don't want to waste your time. You know, I respect you. Are you okay with that? And I was like, yeah, if we go on 10 dates and you don't want to have sex, that's cool. I don't mind. Like, we'll just talk about it. And so a lot of women want to slow things down because of safety or because men judged them in the past. And it's okay that those guys judge them, but like that is the answer why a lot of women want to go slow. Safety fears, fear of being judged, fear of being called a slut, fear that a man will just fuck them and then not see them again or not see them as a long-term prospect, fear that the man will literally just see them as like some wet hole to put their penis in. And so, of course, a lot of them want to go slow. And once that door of, I guess, trust or safety or non-judgmentalism does open, and she does feel a little more comfortable around you, she can see that you're not going to judge her, that you're not going to think she's a slut or that, you know, any of those sort of things. Once that door does open and she feels safer, I have said this so many times, guys, the passion just arrives like a tsunami. Like the sex is 10,000 trillion times hotter, kinkier, nastier, filthier, sexier, more intense, like all of those things that we say we want from our sex life. The sex gets infinitely better when she can trust you, when she can see that you're willing to stop or slow down if she's uncomfortable, or if she says, hey, can we slow down? When she can see that you're not going to think she's a slut, when she can see that you will respect her, when she can see that she is essentially safe around you. Like I said, like the playful, beautiful, wild, kinky side of her comes out. Like all the women that I have dated, or let's just say 99% of the women that I've dated, I'm able to get them to a point, if they see me for long enough, where they really, really, really feel safe. And they will say things to me like, wow, I don't think you're ever going to judge me, are you? And I'm like, no. And if I ever do judge you, I'll tell you, we'll talk about it, we'll figure it out. You know, I want to let go of the judgmentalism. And they're like, wow. So I could just tell you anything. And I'm like, yeah, tell me your kinkiest, nastiest, wildest fantasies. Guys, the fantasies that I have heard over the years and the kinky things that I have done and the intimacy we have shared and all of that beautiful stuff, like, I think some of you guys know this, but women often have minds that are like 1,000 times kinkier than any of you motherfuckers. You guys think that you are dirty. You go onto the internet, you look at porn, and you look at crazy kinky shit. Women have some wild freaking fantasies in their head. Like, go read some of the romance novels that they secretly read, or I guess not so secretly, but that they read in their own time. Holy crap. And so if you can be that guy that provides the safety and the openness and the non-judgmentalism, which are all just things that you can practice, you know, you don't have to be perfect with those things at the start. But as you start to get her to that space of comfort, oh my God, you're going to be like, where the hell are these kinky fantasies coming from? You fucking beautiful, psychotically sexual, amazing woman. And your sex life will just go up 1,000,000 times. It will be 1,000,000 times better, because she finally feels like she doesn't have to hold back. Most women go around, and most of you guys do too, most women go around constantly suppressing themselves sexually, constantly hiding or minimizing their desires, trying to be a good girl, trying to make sure that they're safe, trying to make sure that they're not going to get judged, trying to make sure that people will still respect them in the morning. And if you can be the man who unlocks all of that, my God, it literally is going to be like a tsunami. Crazy, kinky, beautiful tsunami. So, what can you actually do? First thing I would say is stop taking it personally. If a woman says, hey, can we slow down? Or she pushes your hand away, or she says, no, I don't want to kiss you. Or hey, I'd rather not go to your apartment tonight. Or can we do it next time? Instead of taking it personally, be patient, be curious. Instead of immediately telling a story and saying it must be because I'm ugly, why don't you ask a question and say, hey, are you just not feeling the chemistry? Would you rather do it next time? Like, what do you want? What would you like? You can even say, what's going on in that pretty little head of yours? Like, let's talk about it. Be patient, be kind. Be kind and patient with yourself as well. And if you do sometimes take it personally and say, fuck, I'm ugly, it must be because of that, that's okay. Take a deep breath. Stop bullying yourself by calling yourself ugly, which is literally what you are doing. You are literally bullying yourself when you say, I must be ugly. Try and be a little kinder. Try and be a little more compassionate to yourself and to her. Stop treating dating like a win or a loss thing. Like so many guys and women do this too. Go through the dating process and they're almost like looking for the first excuse to say that they failed. So she says, hey, I don't want to go to your place tonight. And he's like, oh, fuck, I hit a brick wall. I failed. It's like, it's not a fail or a win thing, for God's sakes. It's two people hanging out and seeing if they want to have sex together, seeing when they would like to have sex together. You didn't fail. You learned more information. She's literally saying, I'm not ready to have sex tonight. That's progress. How would that be a failure? What's in her mind is not a failure on your part. If she's not ready to have sex, that didn't mean you failed. So stop seeing it as this like fail or win thing. And instead just see it as like someone that I'm talking to and hanging out with. And we're going to see if we want to have some fun together. If we do, that's beautiful. If not, hey, that's cool. Maybe we'll do it next time or the time after that. Or maybe we'll never do it together and I'll go talk to someone else and find the person who does want to do it with me. So take some deep breaths. You don't have to like rush her and rush yourself. Your job isn't like to activate her and to like make her want it. Like, yes, there is some flirting, there's some desire and all of that. But a lot of the time, your job is to just more create the conditions where she can activate herself. Or in other words, to see what she wants, ask her what she wants instead of trying to force it, It's like we don't force a plant or a flower to grow. We put it in the sunlight, we water it, we set the conditions, and then the flower grows on itself or by itself. A lot of female sexuality is like that. You, the man, set the conditions for her to open up and, flower. You are literally setting the conditions for her sexuality to blossom. So I finish up by saying a woman's slow warm-up or a longer timeline to sex isn't a failure. It isn't a rejection. It isn't a disinterest. Every now and then it will be, sure, fine. But people will usually be pretty upfront with you and just say, hey, I wasn't feeling the chemistry. I don't want to see each other again. But if she's into you and you guys are having a good date, but she's not ready for sex yet, that doesn't mean that you lacked something. It doesn't mean that you're not enough of an alpha male. It's not about you. So much of dating, and women do this shit too, so much of dating, like men's dating advice, focuses on the man and is like, if she doesn't sleep with you, it's your fault. You weren't alpha male enough. You weren't tall enough. You weren't handsome enough. It's because you're this race or this age or this height. And it's like, for fuck's sakes, you solipsistic, beautiful, self-indulgent, narcissistic fucks. I mean that with so much love. So often we get caught up in our own ego and our narcissism and our just like we're just so focused on ourselves. We don't even ask the other person like, oh, are you just not ready for sex? Like literally one sentence. Oh, are you just not ready to have sex tonight? That's cool. Do you want to talk about it? Like fucking one or two sentences would immediately make you feel better. But we instead go inside ourselves and we tell these big, grand, theatrical, dumbass stories of how we're not attractive enough, or we're too old, or I'm not an alpha male, or it's because I did this wrong. I need to work on my game. I'm not confident enough. Maybe she's just not ready to have sex yet. Why don't you fucking ask her and you'll find out? So let's use our words a little bit more. Let's understand and I guess empathize with women a little bit more. And maybe in turn, they will empathize and understand us a little bit more. Like we're going to be the ones that go first, guys. We're going to understand and empathize them, and then a lot of them will empathize with us back. Isn't that cool? But again, a lot of female sexuality just has a slightly longer timeline before they get to the point where they're ready to have sex. It's not even massively longer either. Sometimes we're just talking a couple of hours difference. Maybe you're ready to fuck as soon as you see her because you think she's pretty, and she needs 3 hours on a first date before she's comfortable. Maybe you're ready to go on date 2 or something, and she needs date 3. Like, most of the time, we're not talking anything crazy, but a lot of the time, guys will just, if there's even a slight mismatch in the timeline of when they're ready to have sex, if he wants to fuck on date 2 and she wants to fuck on date 3, he'll go, oh my God, I have failed. I've failed. No, just be a tiny bit more patient. Just wait one extra date. I used to say this all the time to guys when they'd be like butt hurt over like rejection. They'd be like, oh my God, she didn't want to sleep with me. And I'm like, just wait one fucking date, dude. And then they would go on the next date and they'd say, hey, do you want to go back to my place now? And she'd be like, I'd love that. And he's like, what? Like, but last time she said no. Did I suddenly become more interesting and attractive? Is it like, am I more of an alpha male now on date 3? Was I a little loser pussy on date 2? And now on date 3, I'm a winner? It's like, no. You just waited a little bit longer and she's more comfortable now. And again, you will learn this stuff about women if you just fucking talk to them. Get some female friends, ask them about their sexuality, how long it takes them to be ready for sex. Have you ever slept with guys on the first date and regretted it? Have you ever waited, till the third date and been glad you did? Like, just ask these questions, or ask women that you date. Ask on the first goddamn date if you want to. Ask before the first date. Be like, hey, no pressure. I'm not putting pressure on you, but like, when do you normally like to have sex with people? Do you like to do it on the first date, the second date, third date? Like what's your timeline for sex? And she'll tell you. And you can tell her your timeline and be like, well, I'm a man. Usually I'm ready to go pretty quickly, but yeah, if you take 3 dates, I respect that. I'm happy to wait. And she'll be like, wow, I can't believe we're talking about this, because most people don't. They just try and fuck as soon as they can, or they fuck whenever they feel ready, but they don't talk to and open up to the other person and actually find out what's going on in their head. So, you guys know I'm a big advocate of like less guessing, less mind reading, and actually just talk to women, talk to people. Any of you women listening, talk to some guys, talk to the men in your life, and just ask, and then you will get the answers. And you'll build something really beautiful if you do. You'll build a depth and a connection that like the impatient guys or the guys that don't ask questions will never get to experience. So you can be that grounded man who's a little bit more patient, who understands and empathizes that a lot of women just take a little bit longer to have sex, and that that's perfectly okay. And I promise you, maybe I could have said this at the start, but I promise you, the wait is worth it. It really is. When you get to that space where she really trusts you because you didn't push her, you asked questions and said, hey, how long does it take you for sex? Like, when do you want to have sex? Like, you were pretty patient and kind and empathetic and safe for her to be around. I promise she will open up in ways that you cannot even begin to imagine. The sex will be 50,000 times better than you ever could have imagined. It's worth it. If you want any more help with dating, sex, relationships, business, happiness, peace, literally anything, I have coaching down below. There's a few different coaching options down there. There's the big hardcore VIP coaching program. I just had someone sign up literally today, so really excited to work with this new guy as well. There's a link down below to that. We have payment plans if you need. And if you want the more affordable option, we have the Abundance Collective, which is $200 a month. We're in the mission or in the process of building that up and making that into a really big, beautiful thing. So now would be the perfect time to join. There are links below to both of those. As always, ladies and gentlemen, go out there, crush those goals, and be just a little bit more patient, I guess. Or like, you don't even have to be patient, but just don't take it personally if someone says, I'm not ready yet, or not tonight. Again, not tonight does not mean never, ever, ever get away from me, you disgusting, unworthy man. You don't have to base your worthiness on what other people say to you.